Welcome to Makers International, a podcast of makers, connecting with makers from all around the world. Here's your hosts, Jamie Page, Chris Cute, and now, Richard Morley.
So, hello. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, good time, whatever time it is, and wherever you're listening. Joined me as always, Mr. Chris Cute.
Hello, love.
We were doing the obligatory kind of UK language, US language before the show, and Chris, no, we're supposed to stop that. Let's just get on with it, please. Talking of just getting on with it, Jamie Page.
Bollocks.
It's bull, as in bull. Ball.
Oh, right. Oh, okay.
I don't have to teach you guys everything, do I?
Welcome to tonight's family-friendly show. Thanks for that, Jamie. Please do adjust your listening. Go on, for goodness sake.
Richard, we can start
anyway,
over.
Matt, please, Matt, welcome.
Hey.
Welcome.
Hello, Internet. I'm glad to be back on the Makers International podcast. Thanks for having me back.
No problem. Check is in the post. As long as you can save us. You have to save us tonight,
I thought I owed you money.
Matt, you're awesome. Thanks for joining us, man. I appreciate it.
Glad to be here.
Oh,
I'm sorry you had to be on those other two guys, though, but okay, whatever.
Yes, absolutely. And talking of apologies, we have some apologies to make tonight to the live listeners who are in the live chat. So just very, very briefly, as I scroll at speed down the list of those people that have been talking pre-show, we have got Matt, you were in there as well, so hello again. Wayne Wood-Turner, Dale from Maple Tree Studios, Wayne Wood-Turner, Doug from Pole Bump Productions, Kareem Hussain, Andy Pugh, so go with Doug, Andy from HB Spoke, Andy from Andy Pugh, and Claire, who actually is called Claire, and from Claire's Crafty Corner. I'll let Jamie explain that at a later date anyway. So big welcome to those people in the live chat. Don't forget, as always, tonight's show is brought to you in part by Yorkshire Grit, the Wood-Turner's Abrasive Paste, our good friend Chad over at Man Crafting, who's still giving away one of his mugs every so often. Jamie will talk about that, and Pam from Highland Boxes. Also, we're not allowed to forget that there's one of his cool mugs. Seriously, Chad's mugs are really cool. Pam from Highland Boxes, and also Steve from Highland Media, who helps us out all with the website stuff. And I do believe, Jamie, we have the breaking news regarding the website, because it was Steve that sorted out the website for the Maker Quilt thing, I believe, was it not? What? Jamie's like,
yes.
Hey? Cat's out of the bag now, I'm afraid, Jamie. So big thanks to Steve over at Harnell Media. Don't forget, if you want to find out more about our sponsors, then head on over to national.com/podcast. And no, it's /sponsors. My apologies, it's been a long day. And there's all the information in there that, by all accounts, Steve puts in, not Jamie. So, Chris, do we have anything from the interweb this week? He's sitting there shaking his head like, oh, goodness me, is it over yet?
Just, those unicorn horns aren't helping you.
By request, I might add. By request.
Oh, that's fine. And Carl,
you have to pander to your audience.
Carl and Robin, you and I need to talk. Anyway,
Robin's out in the chat, by the way.
I know she is. That's why I said that. Because I'm not even going to go there right now. All right. Yes, we do have a question this week, and this week I'm only asking this for a friend. Okay. So, and it kind of relates to tonight's topic. Outside of making like chop saw chili, can anyone think of a use for a crock pot in a shop? My friend has an old one that works, but I mean, he would hate to toss it away if there was some life left in it. That is for shop purposes. Is there any use for a slow cooker in a shop?
Yes. So you could use it for melting wax, like beeswax, and making your own mixtures of things.
You could fill it with water and put your adhesive in there to loosen it up, warm it up. If your bottle of wood glue hardens up a little too much, not solid, but a little too much, you could maybe get it going again.
Okay, but it's a slow cooker.
Yeah.
So it would, Jamie, yes, I agree with you. That's the first thing I thought of was like making a beeswax. But if my friend per se already had us up to make beeswax and didn't need the crock pot, is there anything beyond that you could use? Braising a steak. That's funny, Dave.
Make a casserole.
I was going to say casserole, actually.
I'm kind of into the making process. Is there anything involved with the making process that he could use the crock pot for? Because, I mean, obviously, you don't want to throw away something that still works no matter how ugly it is. If there's a use for it, then you hang on to it. If there's not, then sorry.
Mike in the chat says electroplating.
Yeah, that's James from Multimate. That's what I was just going to read that one out. Yeah, electroplating.
Oh,
there's an idea.
You see, you can tell he's a doctor and he's got like brains and stuff because nobody else thought of that or indeed knows what he's talking about. So I genuinely want to know more about that.
No, but I mean, you know what?
But Carl Jacobson said hot wings, so that's kind of on the same level.
First of all, you're right, Richard. I wasn't bright enough to think about that, but you know what? That makes sense. If I did any kind of electroplating, but I don't. Anyway, all right. Anyway, that was the question, and it was, asked as a favor for a friend who didn't want to throw out a perfectly good crock pot.
Yeah.
I guess they'll just I guess we'll just find a needy family who needs one. Anyway, so there you go.
Or somebody that likes casseroles.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Before we kind of disappear off, and I guess to sort of fill out a few 5 minutes, or a couple of minutes, you said about the using it for wax, and I think Matt said about using it for the hide glue to warm it up, and
yeah.
About 10 years ago, I went into it's like a cash and carry wholesale supply place, big warehouse that supplies hairdressing salons and the places where all the ladies go and have their fingernails done and manicures and stuff like that, and have the gel nail covers.
Mm-hmm.
And I bought a little electric kind of like, it wasn't like a double boiler, it's just like this electric heated metal bucket thing, which takes about a quart, maybe a litre in size, and they use it for melting the wax so they can do all their wax strips, hair pulling stuff, and that is perfect
for the manscaping.
Yeah, that's what. That was worth telling the start in the story. Just
only Jamie would come up with that. Anyway, go ahead.
But yeah, it cost me, I think it was like 15 quid, and that's perfect for melting wax because obviously that's what it's for, but also the hide glue as well. So if anyone has a manscaping wholesaler near where they live, genuinely a good buy.
All right. So basically, if you hang out of the crock pot while you're waiting for glue to dry, you can always give yourself a wax. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jamie.
Yeah, talk about filling out a place though, going into a warehouse where they sell all this kind of stuff, and there's me. I have no idea what I'm looking at.
Especially if you're wearing that unicorn. No, yeah, I can imagine. You might get a few
unicorn, Chris.
You might get a few looks. Anyway, Matt, you're here for a reason tonight.
Save us, Matt.
Oh boy, what can I do for you? I'm here to help,
and we love you. Now, for those of you who may not be aware, and if you're not aware, then that rock you've been sleeping under, you should probably get out from under it. Matt is like the hero of the taco generation. And we have an ongoing debate, in case you're not aware, and perhaps and I don't know, is this debate going on anywhere else besides Facebook, Matt? I mean, does this happen on Instagram or Reddit or anywhere else, or is it basically just kind of a Facebook kind of group thing?
Is the hotbed.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's a ton of proponents all of a sudden for tacos on Facebook. And I have rationale as to why that is, but one of the leading, if not the leading contender for why tacos are so wonderful is Mr. Matthew Haas, and probably followed closely, if not equally, by one. Well, we're not going to talk about him, but we may later. Andy Berkey. So my hypothesis, Matt, I'm going to offer this up to you, and I'm going to play the devil's advocate, if you don't mind, because this is a burning issue that the maker community has been going back and forth about, and we'd like to resolve it tonight to make sure that everybody in the maker community can come together and join hands and sing Kumbaya by the time we're done. My hypothesis is this, is that the whole taco thing, while tacos are good, and I do happen to enjoy them, they've been made into a much bigger thing than most people would ordinarily make them. And that's been done because of the people like yourself, like Mr. What's-His-Face, have made them a topic of greatness. And people have, because they love you both, followed along and found things to praise about these tacos. Now, if I'm wrong about that, I would appreciate you setting me straight and telling me what the actual evidence is here, because I happen to think there's something else better, but you go.
Well, people do love tacos. And yes, there has been an uptick in the chatter around the love and enjoyment of tacos. However, regardless of what the community and what the world at large is talking about or being passionate about, there still is subjective truth about which is better. Okay. So what? Maybe the world is embracing one over the other at this moment. Does it really change the fact that both things exist in reality and can be equally delicious, or one more delicious than the other? So perhaps it's not that big of a impact, because
what you're saying
about taste and personal enjoyment of the items.
No, I happen to agree with you. But what you're basically saying is that people like me should just ignore the fact that everybody's climbing on board the taco bandwagon and ignoring what I happen to think is better. That's so right. I should just go ahead and become submissive. Is that what you're saying?
No.
What? No, that is what you just said.
I'm saying you should let your taste buds be the arbiter of truth and not let others influence you. That's not being submissive. That's thinking for yourself and coming to the correct answer.
Thank you. I agree with you 100%. My question is, why isn't the I'm just going off of, like you said, objective research and polling and things that people have said that they enjoy more.
It's a factor. But when it comes down to it,
it's all up to you. It's all up to your personal taste. I agree. Yeah. It's all up to you. But if we talk about which is more loved, and if you jump on a taco bandwagon, I think you're losing, because it's not more loved. It's more loved by you, granted. And you know what? Hey, Matt, I don't care if you enjoy the type of food that Ragtie posts on Facebook. Anybody who's familiar with Ragtie and sees the crap that he puts on there for food, you'll understand what I'm talking about. But if that's what he loves, and God love you, I would personally throw up if I ate that. But
before we get too deep down this rabbit hole, Chris, can I just kind of just double check something and maybe potentially put some kind of boundaries and or clarification in here? Are we talking about,
as long as it doesn't cripple me?
No, as long as it doesn't affect my argument, you can say what you like. Never let the truth get in the way of a good story. That's exactly. Are we talking about the kind of delicious meal? And I'm not going to pick sides at this point, because I'm very much not on the fence. So anyway, are we talking about the kind of do-it-yourself, homeschooled, weekend in the kitchen kind of a build?
Oh, that's a good.
Or are we more erring towards the, this needs to be done right? It's got to be done properly by a professional, and an absolute custom-made commission job. Or
I thought it was that is objectively better.
That is a very good point, Richard. And I'll tell you what, I will admit this. When you come to the homeschooled, what everyday people can make, tacos are better. I will admit that, because not a lot of people know how to make pizza dough, make it correctly, and cook a pizza within their oven to the specifications that most people know pizza. I agree with you. And if you order out, if you go from, I don't know, Matt, what's a fair representation? Taco Bell versus Papa John's, would that be something that would be kind of an equal type of order out thing? Then they both suck. But so I would agree with you, Richard.
Taco Bell's the bottom of the barrel. I have some thoughts. Can I throw some things out here?
Go for it, my friend.
So pizza. Everyone loves pizza. I love pizza. I'm a huge pizza fan. But pizza has mozzarella cheese on it, and mozzarella is good. But if you're comparing all types of cheeses, generally speaking, mozzarella is very low on the totem pole as far as taste and flavor and consistency and just general likability. So it has an inferior ingredient in it. Inferior is a harsh word, but so there's that. Now, tacos. First of all, there's plush tacos and sparkly tacos. So come on, like that's a tick in my favor right there. But the thing that makes tacos the best, superior, is the combination. And bear with me, this is going to sound hokey, but I assure you, it's dead on. It's the combination of crunchy and chewy. Foods that have a crunch and a chew in it simultaneously are better foods without a doubt. Case in point, grilled cheese. Who doesn't love grilled cheese? Crunch into the crunchy outer part and the soft gooey part. A taco is very similar.
All right. Do you mean a cheese toasty?
Fair enough.
All right. Point. Give me my counterpoint. You mentioned the mozzarella as the ingredient. Let me ask you a question. How many realistic within a taco shell ingredients can you put into a taco?
Well,
no, don't waffle on me. Give me an answer. How many can you put into a taco? Because there's
as few as 4, as high as 9 or 10.
How are you going to put 9 or 10 ingredients inside a taco shell? Explain that to me.
Well, the cheese goes on the bottom because then the hot meat goes on and melts the cheese.
And then what goes on top of the meat?
And then you put the salsa on top of that and the black beans, and then you layer it up with the vegetables. You could do the lettuce, the
Well, how big of a taco shell are you? How big of a taco shell are you eating? Is it like this big? Because let's be honest. You have the opportunity to put more flavor into a pizza than you do a taco. And I will argue that to the day I die. Maybe I agree with you that cheddar is a better cheese than mozzarella. Yeah. But you can put more ingredients on a pizza than you could ever put on a taco.
A counterpoint. So Mexican food in general, it's basically the same 9 things just stacked in different orders, and then they're called different dishes. So if you're the type of person that likes all of those 9 or so ingredients, then you will naturally be attracted to the gloriousness that is tacos.
Okay.
But you're right. You can have barbecue, pulled pork pizza, sky's the limit.
I'm just saying, and I don't want to, and look, we've spent enough time on this topic, and Matt, I appreciate you spending your time with me, and you've made a very good argument. Andy Berkey would be proud of you today.
Well, hey, I'm passionate about that. I did have a meetup group called We Freaking Love Tacos, and it had 500 members, which doesn't sound like a lot, but these are people that were geographically close to me that all wanted to have tacos with strangers with me as the leader. So I'm pretty proud of that accomplishment.
Hi, Matt.
No, it's not a contest. I'm passionate about tacos, and I'm passionate about meeting people and talking to strangers.
Well, and you know what? God love you. And you know what? That's fine. We're just going to have a difference of opinion on that, and I'm happy to be your friend.
And I do love pizza. Pizza, especially with a
Matt, stop,
crispy crust.
Stop. Just stop.
Love it. If you can hold a pizza and fall down.
No, it's too late to suck up.
I'm there all day long. I'm still Team Taco. Don't get me wrong.
Matt, thank you for coming on with us today. I do appreciate it, my friend. You are the man. Be good. Matt Haas, everybody, say hello and then say goodbye. Matt, we'll talk to you later, buddy.
All right.
We'll catch you later, Matt. Thanks a lot, mate.
Take it easy, man.
Makers International.
Yeah, go ahead. Just log off. He makes a good argument. I'll give him that. I think he's entirely wrong, but there you go. Whatever.
Come on now.
All right. Should we try to do a serious show, Richard?
I'll be perfectly honest. I genuinely thought you were joking when you said you wanted to debate this, but I'm happy to go along with absolutely anything crazy mad or.
Well, I was joking. That was a joke. I mean, I don't care. Everybody has their. That's the point. Everybody has their own opinion and their own outlook, and and that's a matter of accepting somebody else's opinion, even though you disagree with it vehemently, because pizza's better.
I happen to agree with you. I'm a big pizza fan, but I just think it's more variety. But you kind of touch on something quite good there when you basically say you can have a disagreement and not be friends,
right? And still be friends,
Because what actually happens when you disagree with somebody about something? Nothing, really, does it? No. I mean, you don't suddenly fall down ill because. I don't like your food or whatever. So
I tell you what gets in the way is egos. But yeah, go ahead.
Totally. Talking of egos, what have you been up to this week?
Myself,
because were you not having like a crisis of faith with you were talking about your project. How's that coming along? Have you done anything with it or?
No, I haven't had a crisis of faith. I mean, it's just been I haven't been active. I mean, I've been out doing things that just would have no interest to other people, so therefore I haven't videoed it. I mean, I've got household things that need to be taken care of, and it's getting to that time of year, like we're coming into fall, we're getting ready for winter, and trying to make a video about that, people would be going, it's not going to be interesting.
But I want to see a video of you like doing the ironing. And
no, it's not happening. I mean, I am Mr. Mom
like that.
You guys are really good at making me look incredibly bad. But I am, I am Mr. Mom. And so, yes, I do those kind of things. But I'm not ashamed to say that because you know what? While I'm doing that, you're out there busting your ass for somebody else. I'm not. I'm doing it when I want to because I've done my work and I'm retired. F you. I'm
retired. Phew.
Yeah. So, do me a favor, No, but I've been traveling a lot. I mean, as you guys know, I mean, I was in New Hampshire. What was it, like 3 weeks ago? I traveled up to see a friend in New Hampshire, and then I had to travel out to California, which is where I was last week. Yeah, I was out in California, and I don't really travel that much, guys. So it's kind of consuming. You know what I mean? It's like I don't do this on a regular basis, so I'm not really good at it.
That's like a proper binge drinkers sort of. I don't do it very often. I don't travel very often, but when I do, I do 5,000 miles across the other side of the country. It's like, I do like 10 miles a week.
I don't drink Jack Daniels often, but when I do, darn it, I drink the whole bottle. It's like...
There you go.
But Chris is officially the binge traveler.
Exactly.
And just for the record, everyone, that when Chris talks about when he went up to New Hampshire, what he meant was he had to go and change the planer knives on his thicknesser. So that's why he had to travel up the other side of his workshop just to do that before coming back again.
Yeah, well, the planer's at the other end of the runway.
Yeah.
But you know what? I invite both of you. And I will actually save up and pay for it to have both of you come by my shop, and then we will do the podcast from my shop and shut you both the hell up.
It'd be exactly the same as it is. Whereas if we went to Jamie's workshop, we'd literally be sitting on the same chair,
like sardines in a chin.
Oh God, Jamie, what are you? Now, Jamie, you've been a busy lad because you've been moving about and doing crazy stuff too. Where have you been?
I've been making products, making projects, Not painting my walls white like Maple Tree Studios wants me to do. Just basically organising the workshop, and that's basically really it. To be honest with you, I did a project which isn't due to come out for a couple of weeks. I'm not overly happy with it. I can't decide whether it's a fail or not. But obviously you'll see that when it comes out. So yeah, that's basically what I've been doing, just getting the videos out and making sure they are staying out. I obviously come back from Kempton Park a week ago, where I've done demos with Martin from MG Makes, John Clothier, Ben Crow. There was some professional RPT wood turners there. A wood club was there. But yeah, that was a great weekend all round. See, Susie and her family were there. So Susie got another new lathe. So
wow.
Her dad was even more penniless.
All right. Well, excuse me for 1 second, but just for the listeners, I want to let you know this is the name dropping portion of Makers International. Go ahead, Jamie.
Yeah. So Susie is a young girl. She's got a YouTube channel called Susie's Dragon Tail Turnings, and she first came across the podcast at Maker Central, and she was doing a pen with Steve from Temple Boy Turnings.
Awesome.
And after that, she kind of found her calling. Is the best way of putting it. And the podcast as a whole donated her some bits, some pen kits, some turning tools, and a few other bits. And she had everything but a lathe. Well, her dad ended up getting her a lathe off the internet somewhere. Well, now she's got a Coronet Herald, the same one as what I've got.
Awesome.
And she's got some dust collector. She's got the works.
That's not Jamie, excuse me, but that's not exactly an inexpensive lathe either. I mean, that's a nice lathe, right?
No, but they did get a good deal on it. And while we're talking about good deals, I want to. I mean, I don't really think we should.
I've got this lathe.
We shouldn't really be doing this, but I actually want to say a big thanks to Trend as a company. Now they do the Air Shield Pro. I want to say it's called the face shield. Well, when they found out Susie was a young turner, not even in her teens yet, they basically just handed her an Air Shield Pro, and they're not exactly cheap face shields. So full respect,
the battery powered one.
Yeah. So full respects to Trend, and they didn't even think twice about it.
That's awesome.
So yeah, much props to Trend.
I don't know how big Trend is in the UK, but I know they're just making inroads here in the US. But I'm guessing they're probably a much larger presence in overseas from where I am. Am I wrong on that?
Well, I know Trend very well actually as a brand. They've supported my channel over the years, and they actually sponsor the router courses that I teach in Cambridge. But awesome. I've been using them for donkey's years, and buying their stuff way before kind of internet stuff. So Trend as a company.
Where are they based out of, Richard? Is it a UK company? Or
yeah. They're actually a family-owned, family-based business in Watford in the UK, just down the road from where they shot the Harry Potter things, awesome. Where the Harry Potter the studios are, and they've been going since I want to say 63, 64 years, something like that. They're not a new company.
No, I know that, but they're new to the American market. I know because they've been introducing tools. I mean, I've seen April Wilkerson use them. I've seen Matt Carmona use them. I mean, so they're trying to make some inroads in the U.S., but they've been around a while for where you are.
Yeah, I mean, they're not new to the party, but they've always been into routing. You know, they're not a power tool company like, I don't know, the big brands like
DeWalt or
Makita or all those kind of things. They purely are into routers. They've got about four or five routers, about 70,000 router cutters, and then accessories and jigs and all that sort of stuff. So that's their business. They just deal with
Jamie,
and the kind of
Trend doesn't actually produce a lathe, but they produce a face shield.
They do multiple respirators and PPE basically in general.
Yeah, because obviously, I mean, if you think about routing, whatever it is, you're close to a huge amount of dust, just like you are with turning. That's why, because it fits within the routing realm.
Got it.
Yeah. Oh, Chris, Susie's dad said the MD is a new turner too. So who knows what's going to bring for Trend?
Awesome.
So maybe we may see some turning stuff from Trend in the future.
Yeah, that's exciting. I mean, that's good news.
Yeah, they've just released a basically it's like a portable CNC machine.
Yeah, they had that at Kempton.
It's kind of like a set it up in 3 minutes. It's on a big trestle. I think they've teamed up with a Yeti. I think it's the company. They're another UK company, and you basically got a 8x4 industrial CNC that you can set up in 3 minutes and pack away into the boot of a small hatchback. So that looks kind of cool.
Yeah. So yeah, that's basically what I was doing, and I think Chris tried killing me off for the amount of money I've spent on Susie out of his wallet. He tried feeding her diabetics and donuts covered in sugar.
He said he had to sell a kidney. He actually sold one of his kidneys in order to afford what you.
He's like, "Will someone stop him?"
Aren't you allergic to bee venom or something, Jamie? If that's any help, Chris? Yeah.
No, I'm not. I like the stuff.
Jamie likes bee venom. All right. So all you beekeepers out there, please release your bees inside Jamie's bedroom this evening, if you don't mind. Actually, right now would be better because I like to see that.
Yeah.
Richard, what about you, man? Because I know you've been busy. You've been busy with client work, haven't you?
Yeah, I mean, it's been one of those just random one of those weeks. I kind of had a crisis of faith actually. So probably, topics when we talked about last week. I literally went from that's going to be a cool project to I don't want to do this to this is really bad, or words to that effect, and then I'll probably be all right, and then actually no, this is pretty cool, and just as the project started evolving, I just kind of felt more comfortable with it getting into it. And it wasn't because it was difficult or anything. Basically, I had to build a fitted cupboard. It was like 6 foot by 2 foot wide by 1 foot deep, and around a consumer unit, or what do you call the panels in your house where all the fuses are? Fuse box?
A breaker box, yeah.
Like a breaker box, right by the front door of this house, and then cut up a load. This was the scary bit. Cut up a load of laminate flooring that had already been laid in order to have like this big area at the front of the house with a like industrial carpet on it. So when you walk into a shop and you come in off the street and they've got these huge
rugs, that you can wipe your feet on.
But they're like fixed to the floor rather than just being a mat on the floor. It's fitted in and it's got like a threshold all the way around it, and it ties in nicely to the existing floor, and it all looks really nice and all the rest of it. That's what I had to put in, but I had to stain all the thresholds and trims
to match the floor,
to match the existing floor, which was just a crazy color. It involved 3 different colors of stain and then a floor polish to go onto that, and I was quite scared because it started off as white oak, and it had to be more or less walnut coloured at the end, but with browns and blacks all kind of showing through. So it's quite a interesting, shall we say,
challenging
to try and
challenging.
Yeah, I actually did a few sort of little test pieces on the offcuts, which doesn't always happen, I must admit. And it just sort of went from like, I don't know if this is going to be all right or anything. I was a bit scared, like literally having to like take a circular saw and literally cut through the floor of this client's hallway. Yeah, like measure and then like, did I get that right, and double check, and then like write the numbers down neatly so I didn't forget them, and then basically just close my eyes and go, oh, this works, and it did.
That is a what you might call a rear end puckering moment, because there's no return from what you're about to do.
Yeah, and it wasn't even like I just sort of like take up, because obviously this laminate floor, it was like quite long boards. They were about 4 foot long and maybe 8 inches wide. And of course, they ran lengthways down the hallway, not crossways. So I couldn't even just take up a few boards and go to like the join. I literally had to cut the end off 7. So if I'd have got it wrong, then literally the whole floor in the hallway would have had to come up and be changed, which also then seamlessly transitioned through into the kitchen as well. So it would have been literally front to back of the house of all this floor, but it would need replacing. So yeah, that was quite a scary moment, but it came in all right.
But you are getting ready to travel yourself, are you not?
I am, yes. But that's another thing that's kind of being a bit stressful at the moment, because it means I've got to tie up all the loose ends before we go, because I don't want to have to say to a client, I've half done it, I'm nearly finished. I'll see you in a fortnight, because that obviously isn't good. So I'm trying to cram everything in, and I've got all these little things to do. And because we're going over the Halloween period, I've got to sort out Halloween costume, which is not something that I ever do. We're making Halloween costumes, so I've got like loads of sewing to do and cutting up t-shirts to make this costume, and it's kind of a bit stressful, because actually the list is longer as the days tick by. The list gets longer. Do you ever have one of those? Does anyone ever have one of these days where you get up and you're like, right, I've got this huge long list to do, and you get to like the end of the day, and all you've done is added more to the list, and you've got a day less to do it, but the deadline's just ebbing closer. It's just like,
it's a lot of pressure. It's a lot. Yeah. It's a lot of pressure. But you're coming over to the States, are you not?
Yeah. So basically, I'm tagging on the back of Kat's and her kids' family holiday. We're going back to Florida for a break, and it's nearly pretty much bankrupted me. But yeah, you only live once and all the rest of it. So we went 2.5 years ago, and that's about as long as I've been saving too.
Well, I remember we did a show from you when we first started the podcast. We did a show from you, and you were actually sitting outside of your hotel. I think you were by the pool or something, and you're kind of doing basically that same trip to Orlando.
Yeah, pretty much. I think we're staying at a different. See, this is the other thing. Kat plans all this stuff. She does all the
hard
background,
work.
all the hard work. Yeah, she's literally done everything herself, and penny pinched absolutely everything. Like literally trimmed off all the fat and the excess, taking it right down to the leanest of cuts. So yeah, I know when I've got to be up on what day and what I need to pack, and she's pretty much sorted out the rest of it, which is a nice, fortunate position to be in. But that deadline is ever closer.
I mean, because you're going to be with us next week, but after that, you're going to be gone for a bit of time.
Yeah, so it works out because of, obviously with the school terms and all the rest of it, we go on, I think, the Saturday. So I'll be around next week for the next show, but then the show in 2 weeks' time, we would have travelled on the Saturday prior. So it's like 13 days' time. Oh, that's not good if any superstitious people are listening. But yeah,
right.
so
if anybody's, I'm just saying, if anybody's watching and they want to audition for Richard's spot on the podcast, we're
obviously, it's a long recruitment process.
We should get Joe back on.
Yeah, we should get. You know what? We should get Joe back on and see if he can fill your shoes. And then if you get back, that'd be great. But if you don't, then that's okay too.
I'd love to say it's a really difficult job, and it takes like loads, but that's not going to fly with anyone, is it?
Oh, and by the way, I guess. Well, I'll mention it in passing, and if it leads to a discussion, it does. If it doesn't, then it doesn't. Today is the last show we're going to do for what is
forever.
No, for what is.
Joe just offered. Yes, we do.
Yes, Joe, we do. We really do. We want you to temp for the 3 weeks that Richard is gone, if you don't mind, and if you can't, commit to all three.
He said if Richard can do it, anyone can.
That's basically true. You can edit that bit out, can't you, Chris?
Yeah. No. No. I'm not going to edit that out. Are you kidding me? So if
if you can't commit to all three, then Joe, yeah, at least one or two, that would be great.
Can you do the editing as well, Joe?
Oh no, I'll do the editing, Joe. So you don't have to. No, if you hit him with that, Jimmy, he's going to say no straight off. He's going to no. Are you kidding? I've done that. But speaking of Joe, today marks the end of our third season. We've been doing this for 3 years, guys.
That's
well,
mental.
Actually, I've been doing it for 3 years because I've never missed an episode.
All right. Well, I've been doing it for 2 years and I don't know what, 4 days. I mean, whatever. Anyway, I mean, Joe, if you're up to it, we'd love to have you. And yeah, actually, please help us out. Because if it's left up to Jamie and I, this is going to get real ugly real fast. And Rich is not going to want to return with what we do.
We'll come back and Chris will be laying on the floor covered in golden shower and
wearing unicorn horns and all kinds of nasty.
wearing unicorn horns. This is what Jamie and Richard were talking about.
See, I reckon now I'm totally up for Joe doing that because I think that would be awesome, and I genuinely look forward to that. I might. It depends how good the holiday is, which I expect is pretty good. I might listen in live if that's the case, but that'll be over Halloween, won't it?
Yeah, because I mean, next
Joe,
week
you've got to come in a Halloween costume.
Don't put that skull bloody thing on again; it won't wash off.
Joe's already going, no, I did that 1 year, and none of you even dressed up. You made me look like an idiot.
I fell for that once before, he says.
Didn't the white on the face paint or something start staining his skin or something like that?
Oh, God love Joe. I mean, I seriously miss him. Anyway, so, I mean, you know what I really find funny is that we've been doing this for at the end of the third season, and we haven't gotten a bit better at doing this. It's just we haven't become any better, and the fact that we don't care about that is actually what I love about it.
That was what I was going to say. I don't think it's that we haven't got better. I think it's that we don't get so hung up about it like we used to. Genuinely, I remember the first show we did when but there was the five. Obviously, there was Alan was with us and Joe was with us, and we'd been talking for about a week about who was going to do what, and Joe was going to do the editing, and Jamie was going to do all the social media stuff because obviously everyone in the world knows Jamie on social media, and Chris was going to give us a few tips, and we actually sat down before the first show, you and I, Chris, because you've got like 1 million years or 300 years experience in radio production and all the rest of it, and you gave me these tips. I was bricking it. That was literally for the week before the first show. I was like, oh, make sure I've got this, and I've done all these this, and I've like written things down, and literally 30 seconds in, it all just went to pot. And I was, if you go back and listen to the early shows, they're just, it's just cringeworthy, even worse than it is now.
I think for the first year as well, I spent every intro I got insulted.
Yeah, and I just ran out of those, and I just stopped doing it and hoped nobody would remember, because I thought, it's the first few episodes. Maybe that would just sort of like disappear off. And
I mean, for the first year, I think Jamie's participation in the podcast maybe consisted of 6 words because he was just there. He wouldn't say anything, and Joe and Richard and I were carrying the conversation, and Jamie was there just for the visual laugh or the nod, and then the yes or no,
or the boxes and briefs.
That was about it. Wow.
Jamie spent a whole year auditioning. All right, all you got to do, Jamie, when we went, so we're going to have a guest on this week. All you need to do, about 10 minutes in, just ask them what kind of underwear they wear. It'd be fine. That's all it is. All you got to do.
Yeah, that was basically it.
And then you stayed, and that was that.
Nothing's changed.
Yeah.
Nothing's changed.
Nothing. Yeah.
Well, one thing has changed. One thing has changed, and it's been developed, I guess, within the past year. And Mr. Page, it happens to be your page. Do you have one for us today?
I do have a
Jamie's page. Still as disgusting as it was a year ago. Anyway, go ahead.
So, as a lot of you may know, we was doing the Maker Quilt, and the Maker Quilt is still going on.
Yeah.
However, there's been a slight change. So what we're actually doing now is, if you just tuned in last week, is it's not being made out of t-shirts anymore. So I'll basically give you a quick gist and rundown of it. But it's all up on the website. Oh, excuse me. It's all up on the website now. On the header, hashtag Maker Quilt. So instead of sending in a t-shirt to any specific location, because that would obviously cost anybody up to the price of their shirt, which could even be $20 or £20 or whatever. So what we're actually doing is we're actually selling off single squares, which eventually will make up the quilt. So what's going to happen is you're going to buy a raffle ticket, which is going to be a square, but it's a digital, so you never actually handle any items whatsoever. You'll get an email or a receipt to say thank you for purchasing such and such amount of tickets. Okay, so it's £1 per ticket, which comes up to about $1.32, I want to say, but that's going to fluctuate up and down a little bit, right? And then basically what happens is so you buy one ticket, that enters you into one chance to win the Maker Quilt at the end of it when we decide to raffle it off, right? If you buy 5 tickets, that's 5 chances into it, and so on up to however many you want to buy. If you want to decide you want to buy 1,000 raffle tickets, that's 1,000 chances for you to win that Maker Quilt.
Well, hold on, but 1,000 is going to make cats work extremely hard.
I know. That's just an example. However,
but it'd be a really good size quilt though, so that'll make it worth it. Won't
it? But that's what I'm just saying. However many tickets you buy, that's how many chances you get to win the Maker Quilt.
Yeah.
Okay.
If we only sell one square, whoever buys it will get sent like a little bit of fabric in the post, and that £1 is going to go to the charity of Cat's Choice.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And the charity of Cat's Choice is because, and the reason it's Cat's Choice is because Cat's obviously the one doing all the work. It's for Guide Dogs UK for a couple of reasons. One is because she's obviously got a massive crush on Bamber the dog, and because Chris the blind wood turner, it's a Maker related donation, if you like.
Right.
Now, obviously, if you don't want to participate in the Maker Quilt, there's also a donate button on the website as well, so you can just donate money straight off the bat if you want to do it that way. We haven't got an end date for this at the moment, so it's live now. If you want to go over and start putting in start purchasing the squares, so you go to makersinternationalpodcast.com, and at the top of the page you will see hashtag Maker Quilt. If you just go there, you will find it all there, and you pay with PayPal, so it's all secure and all that good fun stuff.
Well, Jamie, I don't mean to, excuse me, Richard. I don't mean to tax you, but if you can post a link to that in the chat today, that would be helpful. And I will guarantee you that I will have a link to that in Wednesday's re-release of this, so that if people are interested, they can go ahead and do that, because it's for a worthwhile cause. And for £20, you might get a handmade quilt out of this, and that's obviously a deal. So.
To be fair, Chris, for £1 you could get.
Well, no, you're right.
This is it. This is one of the reasons why we've done it this way, because I mean otherwise you're going to end up, if we did it with the t-shirts, you're going to end up buying a $15 to $20 t-shirt,
cut it up, and then
cut it up, and then whereas this you can pay $1, $5, $2, or pound, should I say?
Exactly.
There's a little bit of of chat going on. It seems there's a couple of people that haven't quite understood you, Jamie. Leona's saying that that's not particularly clear description. So essentially what's happening is on the website, you can purchase tickets for £1. You can buy as many tickets as you like. One ticket equates to 1 square and 1 entry to the raffle to win the quilt. However many tickets are sold, there'll be that many squares on the quilt. So the quilt will come out of how many squares. So it won't be a case of you can buy 100 tickets, but there's only 40 squares. You're basically buying a square. And then that's also an entry to win the whole quilt. It's as simple as that. And all the money that comes from this goes to the Guide Dogs for the Blind. So what we're doing is we're effectively sponsoring a puppy through its training. And it costs, if you go, I think the links are in there, but it's,
right.
Yeah. Basically through their 2 years of training. And somebody was saying, I think it was Dave Turner was saying last week, £57,000 to train a guide dog for one person.
Yeah. And if I can try to make that a little clearer, then for each ticket that is sold, that's how many patches are going to be on this quilt. So you're basically buying a patch on the quilt that is yet to be made.
So Leona just trying a follow-up question. So £1 gets you 1 square, but £10 gets you 10 chances.
Exactly.
So £1 gets you 1 chance, £10 gets you 10 chances,
and 10 squares as well.
And 10 squares. Yeah.
It's not that complicated, is it?
No, come on, people. This isn't really that hard. I mean, it's going to be a quilt made out of patches, and you're buying the patches. If you buy 20 patches, there's going to be 20 patches that you bought, and it will give you 20 entries to win the quilt. I mean, that's just not that hard. Anyway,
yeah.
Jamie, do you have anything else?
So I've got a shout out as well. So my shout out goes to Ben Crow over at Crimson Guitars. It's the videos that are going to be in the description. It was originally first a series, but the series went on for quite a long time. So the 2 videos that's going to be posted is the 2 parts of the 90-hour build, also known as the Complication, from Ben Crow at Crimson Guitars. I got to see the guitar up close and even handle the guitar at Kempton Park. And, it's hard to call it guitar. It's more like an art piece. It's absolutely beautiful. You can see the work that's gone into it. The man is just incredible. Seeing that, it's an amazing piece. So, yeah, you got to go and see it get made.
Awesome.
Chris, do you want to do your shout out? I'm desperately looking to find mine because I'm obviously always organised.
Because Richard is so prepared. And I'm doing this shout out sort of tongue in cheek, but I mean also for somebody who I really, really like. James Hamilton. If you know James Hamilton, then you know Stumpy Nubs. He put out a video today, Sunday, on why coping saws are so hard to use. And I'm only mentioning this because scroll saws are basically a mechanical scoping saw. And I thought Jamie would appreciate me giving at least that kind of a shout out. Because go, if you have a coping saw and you're struggling with it, then go watch the video. But I'm putting it out kind of sort of tongue in cheek, even though I love James, for Jamie, because a coping saw is basically a mechanical scroll saw in many ways. Jamie will fill me in if I'm wrong about that, but I'm pretty sure I'm correct.
Or is it that a scroll saw is just a coping saw for the lazy, or those that don't have access to, say, electricity or don't
whoa,
Richard.
I knew there was going to be an objection for that, but go ahead, Jamie. If you want to correct him, go ahead. But I am now divorcing myself from the subject. The only thing, and Jamie will disagree with me, because Jamie says he can build anything out of a scroll saw, which is fine, and I agree with that.
Oh, I can.
No, I'm just saying that coping saws help you, if you know how to use one correctly. You can put angles on things that a scroll saw from a typical user, meaning me, not Jamie, because Jamie can friggin' do anything. But me, I can't put the angles on pieces of wood that a coping saw quite can. But Jamie could. I'm sure, Jamie. Couldn't you?
Yeah, because a table tool.
Table tool. This
Table
is my
tool, yeah.
table. This is the
table
far
tilt.
side of my table. If you follow me over this
Table
fence, I'll bring you
tilt.
to the near side of my table.
Table tilts.
Well, I just want to give James, who I happen to love, some love today, and also at the same time accommodate Mr. Page. So I thought I was killing two birds with one stone there and not creating an argument. But whatever.
Just a quick comment from Leona. She wants to know if Kat needs any donations of material.
No, none at all. She's got mountains of the stuff. We're trying to get rid of it. Don't send more. Sorry, Kat.
Well, no, Kat already. She said I should have plenty in my stash, but I'll shout out if I start to run low. Rich is going. She doesn't need to run low. It will never happen.
Don't feed the stash.
She's a hoarder of material. Don't do that.
Oh, nearly. Oh, don't go there, Chris.
No, I want to. Well, okay. I'm sorry. Yeah, I've just dug myself a grave. I'll just shut up. Go ahead. Go ahead, Richard.
So I think that's just about plenty of time for me to find a shout out for this week. I'm going to shout out a guy. I don't think I was going to have heard of this because I'm trying to carry on my little sort of what's the word?
What animal is it about this week?
Oh,
no, it's not a shout.
I swear to God, if you give me another kangaroo link, I'm not posting it. I'm telling you, it's not happening.
No, but I'm going. The theme, that was it. It's the theme of kind of non-maker or loosely maker related. This is a guy called Griffin Hammond. I don't know if he still is. He used to be involved in a channel called Indie Mogul, which was all about kind of independent film makers and stuff like that. His voice is just really easy to listen to, and he puts out a lot of tips for filmmakers and camera setups and lighting techniques and basically all the things that I obviously pay no attention to in my videos, if you watch any of my videos. But there's some really good advice in there, and I used to subscribe to him religiously when he was doing Indie Mogul, but I've kind of got back into his channel because he's putting some really good GH5 videos out for the Lumix GH5 camera, which is an awesome camera, by the way. Talk about that another day. So yeah, there's something that might be of interest to people that maybe want a little tip on.
What's his name again?
Griffin Hammond. I've sent you the link, Chris.
Yeah, please do.
But just it's already done. It's already done.
Aren't you the man?
I don't know if the is probably might be a little bit presumptuous. You pick your own word after that. I'm not that fussed.
Pretending to be. One way or another, we'll get through this.
Please, just help us to the end.
They both hate me right now. I don't care.
That's fine. It's absolutely fine.
Because, to put it lightly, we've had a tumultuous day today with the Makers International podcast, but we have now recovered from it, and we love each other.
You're welcome.
Yeah, thank you, Jamie. Considering you were the instigator of the whole damn thing, we're fine now.
I thought you were, Chris. I thought
you were.
No. Jamie was the one who asked the question that started the conversation, and that's the whole. We're not going to go into that. Let's just get out of this.
That's it. I'm out of here.
Before you guys prove me wrong, I just want to get out of here.
Fair, but do we know what's happening next week? Because it'll be like this is like season finale. Season 3, season premiere, season 4 next week. Are we carrying on doing this, or are we just going to have our Sundays back to ourselves?
No, I mean,
we paid for another year's worth of SoundCloud. I suppose.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you. No, I mean, next week is actually a topic that you will love, Richard, because it's a topic you brought up, and I guess we're going to discuss about hobbyists, tradesmen, whoever. And we're not going to tell anybody how to do this. We're going to tell people how we feel. And if we can think of somebody to come on with us that might be an expert on this, I mean, we'll obviously invite them, but right now we have no plans to. It's about pricing your work. If you're doing it as a hobbyist and if you're doing it as a tradesperson. Now, we kind of touched on this a while back when we were talking about whether hobbyists were affecting tradespeople, and we realized that no, they're not. But we're trying to, I guess next week's focus is going to be on how to get the most out of the work that you're putting into it from the people you're looking to sell to, if you decide to sell. So it's going to be kind of a pricing your work type thing, but there's no advice that will be given that will be that you even should consider a standard practice. It's just going to be our personal opinion.
Yeah, that's right. But we're also going to be talking about not just from a trades point of view, but also if you're doing craft fairs and kind of selling your
hobbyist, exactly,
hobby stuff on there, like the Christmas fairs. I think it actually work kind of well, because I've noticed there's a lot of people been posting that they're booking their first Christmas craft fairs. And
they're always asking, how do I price my work? What would you guys charge for this? And it's like, I mean, we're not going to give you the definitive answer, but I mean, as far as
there isn't a definitive answer, that's the thing. That's I think you can make a
exactly. And so we're going to get into that next week. And we're going to rely heavily on the people that show up for the chat, because everybody's going to have their own opinion, and I think they should be heard. But yeah, that's what we have on tap for next week.
Sorry, I've just been distracted by a comment here. Mark Lindsay CNC said all our Sundays belong to them. He actually said all your Sundays belong to us, but presumably if that's coming from him, so like our collective Sundays belong to the viewers. It's like, you belong to us.
I don't think so. And I really, because if I was going to price that, it would be very, very low.
Yeah, pennies on the dollar at least, exactly. At most, at best. Yeah,
that would be a riverboat in the middle of the Grand Canyon.
Yes,
because that once was a river, but it isn't anymore.
Yeah, less the manual propulsion devices.
All right, Richard, get us out of here.
Awesome. I think that definitely wraps it up for this evening. So now at least you know what we're going to be talking about hopefully next week, unless of course the plans change, or if you weren't even listening. And if you aren't listening, then we will say what we like about you. If you are still here, thank you, but why? Anyway, until next week, you'll have a fantastic time. Take care.
Have a great week, everybody.
See you later.